So let's talk about. Well, first of all, my job is to inform you as to what you have. Because if you don't know what you have, you can't take care of it. So every wood floor, except for one in my 36 years, has maple on top. It's maple wood flooring. Very standard. Now this is, I'm not mistaken, if I'm looking at my sheet, this is a first grade maple. So whoever spec'd this floor, this is a beautiful maple floor. If you look around, it has no knots in it. It has very little variation. It's very uniform. First grade, so there's a Volkswagen, there's a Mercedes, and there's a Bentley. So this is a Bentley. Okay, it's first grade. Very nice material. Still maple, but a lot more uniform. Most gyms that we do, that most people spec, are second grade. Still maple, still the same size, but they got some knots, they got a little bit of variation. If you didn't know the difference, you might never know the difference. But just so you guys know what you have, this is a first grade maple floor on top. In the grand scheme of things, the maple floor on top is $1. What's underneath, the subfloor, is where all the money is spent. Because every wood floor is a maple floor. It's what the subfloor is. This is an Alliance subfloor system. This is a very nice, very good system. It's a great subfloor system. That's what you're paying for. It's got some cushion to it. It's got a little give to it. That's what it is. So subfloor is most important. Maple's important, but not as important. But it's a beautiful first grade maple. In any wood floor, whether it's your house or my house, this system, I'm assuming I'll ask you, can be regulated. The heat and humidity in this space can be regulated probably from a computer somewhere, probably in Tahiti maybe.
Soon.
I'm being facetious, but yes, it can be. Somebody can sit at a computer and say 60 degrees, blah, 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 blah. That's perfect. And that's great in a perfect world. Not a perfect world. So we leave these. This is a juvenile humidity detector. It's humidity and temperature. Very juvenile. Make sure it's set correctly. There we go. So this will measure the humidity in the space and the temperature in the space in real time. Okay, not from a computer and not from the sensors. Are they up there? Are they up there? Or are they on the walls?
They're on the backboards.
On the backboards. Gotcha. Perfect. Perfect. See that? Learn something new every day. What you have to understand, this is a living, breathing piece of equipment. This is 8,300 square feet. It's living and breathing every minute of every day. The hotter you make it in here, the wood's going to pick that up and it's going to shrink. You're going to have cracks everywhere. In July in Virginia, when it's 110 degrees outside and the system's not working correctly, I'm not saying at home, the system's not working correctly and it's 70% humidity in here, the wood's going to pick up moisture and it's going to swell. It's living, breathing every minute of every day. So you have to monitor that all the time, especially for the first year, because this floor is very acceptable to moisture changes in its first year. So this is a very juvenile humidity temperature tester. It's got a magnet on the back. We like to stick them up on the back of the backboard or somewhere where the kids won't get it, because the kids think it's something special when they have a field day with you. It's very inexpensive. But this, if you can't get to that computer room or that computer screen and see what it is, this will tell you immediately. You'll come in one day, now we've had a very mild, it's February and it's 60 degrees outside. Normally it should be 10 degrees outside. But you'll come in one day, maybe in another month, when it's cold outside and you look down and go, what about the cracks in the floor? Why is there so many cracks in the floor? I never noticed them. See where this is, find it. In a perfect world, it has to be 40, I think it's 42 to 54, and I have literature on all that, so you don't have to remember all that. This has humidity information on it, and cleaning stuff. So the 45 is where you want to be for humidity. Okay, now that's going to be very hard to do. You got 1,000 people in here, you got kids playing, the humidity is going to go up. All right, you know that because it's going to be hot and humid in here. You got all these people standing around in here. But today, there's nothing going on in here. It's dead space. It should be right where it is. Okay, let me just tell you, as I just told you, it's very hard to keep that. Very hard to keep that. Unless you're standing here every day, it's very hard to keep that temperature. Just because of how things work. When it gets hotter outside, sometimes the systems can't keep up, and then they end up just my experience, they end up pumping in outside air. So now that top reading of 46 now is at 76. And you'll come in and go, why has the floor got why has it got a little curve to it? What is it? Look at the meter. Read it. That's the problem. It's too humid in here. Every piece of wood has picked up a little bit of moisture and curled the edges up. Now, you get it back to where it belongs, the wood will dry back out and go back down. Living, breathing, all the time. Now you got a water leak, the roof leaks, you got a door was left open and water comes in, that's a different story. That's a whole nother ball of wax in itself. But overall, general, you want to keep it, that's almost perfect. So what I do with these is, and again, it's a bad day because it's 60 degrees outside, but is I take a business card and put a date on it and take a picture of it. Today, the date, it's perfect. You're going to call me in a couple of weeks when it drops to 10 degrees outside and you say, Jay, you know, there's cracks in the floor. I said, look at the meter. Send me a picture of the meter. And it'll probably say 28% humidity. Well, you know automatically, you know, I just told you what happens when you dry it out, it's going to shrink. Keep in mind, it's living and breathing. It's always moving. So keep that in mind. So this, I'll give that to you. The longer you're holding the course, the temperature will go up and down. If you find a place to put it, it's up to you. You can do with it what you want. But just keep in mind, if it's within kid level, they're going to have a field day with it.
So are you, I don't want to stop your
No,
thing, but so if it does say that, what do we do to get more humidity back?
That's an HVAC issue.
Okay.
So HVAC is what's making that number perfect.
So that's we talk to you.
Well,
Eventually it'll be him.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh,
It'll
gotcha.
be facility.
Okay.
I'm assuming your facilities. He'll be sitting at the computer adjusting it. If you know you got a game coming up and you're going to have 1,000 people in here and it's a big event, you have graduation. I don't know what goes on in here. It's none of my business. But he can make adjustments, or someone can make adjustments from a computer screen. It's going to be, it's going to be hot and humid in here. Let me adjust things a little bit to make up the difference, and then go back and fix it later. All right. So, with any wood floor, remember, living, breathing, always moving. Keep the temperature and the humidity at a perfect level all the time. It's very hard to do, but if you can, that's what you want to do. And it'll stay like this. Flat, smooth, minimal cracks. At your leisure, you sit there and you can read all that stuff. That'll tell you the same thing I just told you. It's always moving. Let's talk about keeping the floor clean. So we talked about lifts, double layers of plywood. That's what they suggest. Okay. Remember, sitting on grommets, sitting on rubber. You let those things sit. Well, first of all, you never bring them out without something on the floor first. But if that was sitting there, you don't want to let that sit there overnight. You want to, if they're going to use it tomorrow, fine, get it out of here, set it out there somewhere, and then bring it back. You end up crushing the pads. You know what you got then? Now you get a dead spot because you've crushed the pads. So plywood, perfect, fantastic. If it has to more work tomorrow, get it out of here and then bring it back in the next day. And I'll be honest with you, it's a pain in the butt. That plywood's heavy, and you need a drywall cart to store it on. You need 2 people to get it out and lay it out. It's cumbersome. But again, you don't want dead spots in the floor from a lift like that or like this one. But what's been done here is perfect. That's exactly what they want you to do. Put it on plywood, span the weight out. Perfect. Cleaning purposes. So all these guys are gone. Everything's done. It's now been turned into a school. You have classes in here. You have your normal stuff. All the dust is gone, and the floor you're ready for the cleaning of the floor. So at minimum, the 6-foot dust mops. I know you guys got them in here. Minimum. So if you're not going to do anything else to this floor, dust mop. Get the dust off the floor. Every time somebody walks in this floor, and people hate when I do this, and I usually stand by the door because that's usually when they ask me to leave, but I'll do it this way. Is I go like this. So the floor is not bad, but everybody that walks in here with shoes on is grinding whatever dirt into the finish. Not out of the ordinary, but you got to keep up with that. You got to keep that dirt and mess off the floor. I just noticed that. That's for the tarps. That thing holds the tarps. That's the floor cover. Is that what that is? That thing is also very heavy. So, and I'm sorry, I'm getting off task here, but only because what you have to be careful of. What you have to be careful of is this thing It should be full of rubber. Yeah, it's full of rubber. Perfect. Very few schools have these because they have no place to store them. Look at this monstrosity. What are you supposed to do with the damn thing? You know that's not going to go there. It's got to go somewhere. I don't know where it goes. Oh, it goes in there. There you go. Perfect. So this thing is very heavy. These wheels, all right, this is designed for that. It's what it's designed for. But they're hard plastic. It's a lot of weight on a hard plastic wheel. You want to minimize dragging this thing all over the place. If you're going to get this out, I'm assuming you bring this out, you grab a hold of them, you roll them out. Move it down, roll it out, right? Try to keep it off the playing field. Try to keep it over there. Yeah, if you're going to do any damage, you're going to do it over there. Stay off the playing field. We have schools all the time that take that thing, they store it over there, but they start over there. So they roll it across the paint all the way to the other side of the gym. And it just makes a mess all the way across. So try to keep it off the playing field along the edge. And pull it out, move it down, pull it out, and do what you got to do. So this is great. This will protect the floor for 30 years if you use it correctly. Because that's brought out for events, graduations. If you rent the space out to a flea market, that's a terrible word. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got tables and chairs set up in here, things like that. That's beautiful. It's perfect. If we do 100 schools, 2 of them have this because there's no place to store it. They don't have the room to store that thing. Or they don't have the staff to use it to make it work. So, but that's great. But just make sure it's used, okay? I know it looks pretty, but make sure somebody uses the daggone thing because it will keep this floor looking like it's supposed to. So, let's get back because that got me sidetracked. Dust mop.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Once you put that down, it's all right to put chairs and tables.
Yeah, because that's just a vinyl, it's a rubber mat, a vinyl mat. Perfect. Don't tape it to the floor. So you're going to roll it out along here, I'm assuming, or wherever the bleachers come out, whatever you're going to do. Don't tape it to the floor. Cannot tape to the floor. And that goes for you as well, and whoever else is in here with gym class. And I'm saying this, you guys do what you want, but should never put any tape on the floor. I know they make good gaff tape, which is made for gym floors. If you buy that good gym tape, look on the inside of it. It has a release time. You can't leave it there forever. You got to put it down, take it back up. Now a gym teacher, not a gym teacher, but gym teachers will put out maybe X's for the kids to stand or whatever it is, or some kind of game that's being played, and they're going to do it for the next 3 weeks. I'm not taking that up, putting it back down, taking it up, putting it back down. Problem is, the longer that stays, the adhesive from the tape reacts with the finish. Okay? So if you want those markers, if you want X's or O's or just placeholders, we can paint them on the floor. And that way they're there forever. So that's not a big deal. Depends on what you're doing. So putting the tape is great. Put it down, take it back up. All right.
Like if they have, we have events and we do like a sound system, you know, and they need to take the wires so that nobody trips.
Brutal, because they're going to use duct tape, they're going to use masking tape, they're going to use whatever's in the truck, and that's
We could
brutal.
tape to that.
I don't care what you do with that.
We do an event where there's a sound system.
Yeah, I don't care what you do on top of that. But yeah, the duct tape, the electrical tape, the masking tape, even the good blue painter's tape, that's very expensive. Even that has a release time. You gotta put it down, you gotta take it up. So just keep that in mind. No tape.
Okay.
Get back to the cleaning. Dust mop. Everybody's gone, construction's all done, the dust is to a minimum. Now it's dust mop. Now I don't know how many times the gym gets used a day. How many times would it get used? Is there classes?
There's like 5 PE
Okay,
classes
so
a day and it's
all,
4 times.
okay, all day long. Okay, so you got kids coming in and out from outside, wherever the outside, wherever the door is. Okay, so somebody has to keep up with the dust and the grit, especially if you're coming in from outside. Because remember, everybody that walks in, grinding it into the finish. So you got to do your best to keep the floor clean. Dust mop at the minimum. Dust mop. We don't use the 6-foot dust mops, and I'll tell you why. They work perfect if that's what you got. Our problem with that is as you're dust mopping, at some point you got to stop. You got to shake that out. Well, that creates a huge plume of dust. And then you got to come back. Then you got to pick that up. So, I mean, now you're doing 3 things over and over again. So we have backpack bags. if you notice us while we're here working, I don't know if you paid attention, we don't even have any brooms anymore. Everything is vacuum. We spent a lot of money on very good qualified dust pack vacs with 100-foot cords. They have a 16-inch head on them, and we just go up and back. We're doing everything at one time. A little bit longer, takes a little bit longer, but I'm not coming back and I'm not making a big plume of dust either. And I can get up on the base, clean the base, and everything else. Down and back with a backpack vac. They even make them cordless these
Only
days.
with the 16 inch.
I can't buy them any bigger than that. At some point, somebody will make them bigger. I think 16 or 18 inches is as big as I can get them.
So, if you had that, the vacuum, and you did that once a day, and then like in between, you know, halftime basketball, you need to
Dust mop.
Dust mop it?
Yeah, you wouldn't want to get out the vacuum
Right.
in between, right?
But the dust mop, so I need to order those.
Well-
But I've seen two where they drag behind you. You know the ones that you like. Have you seen those?
Okay, hang on a second. Oh, you beat me to it. You beat me to the punch on that. That's that. That's a quick one.
Yeah,
Oh, you
okay.
beat. Okay, hang on. You beat me to that. All right, hang on. I got to get myself set again. Hang on. No. So, dust mop, backpack vac work great. Now we get into cleaning the floor. You don't clean the floor every day. You broom it, you sweep it, but you don't. After a game, you're going to have sweat, dirt, stuff like that. You want to get up. So we go back over here. Let's talk about this solution over here. So this is Hilliard Finish. This is all Hilliard Finish. So Hilliard's recommended cleaner is this. I'm going to give this to you guys. This is the Super Shine All. This is concentrated. So it's I think it's 4-to-1. So you mix this with water. So now we'll parlay into what you just brought up. So when it's time to clean the floor, we'll use this as an example, and I'll talk about the quick pass in a minute. You have your mop bucket, and you've mixed that 4-to-1. You have towels. We buy, this is mine from my car, so we usually buy white or cream. That way we know when it's dirty. Mine, unfortunately, is brown, doesn't make a difference. So you got that mix in a bucket, you rinse this thing out, and you wring it out so it's just damp. And again, I know where we're going, so this is where you asked me to leave again, and I'll get to my point in a minute here. So this now has a solution on it, okay? And now you go up and back to the floor. With the grain, up and back. Because this now has a solution on it. So you're getting the sweat and maybe the salt from outside, or maybe it's raining and there's a ton of wet footprints all over the place. You're getting all that up. Okay? Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Now your first question is, Jay, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not spending hours doing this. You gotta come up with a better idea. Okay, that's fine. So same principle, it's a towel. This is called a quick pass. You just said, it's a 6-foot or 8-foot bar. It has a towel that comes with it. And they used to call it a mule. What a terrible name for that was, but they used to call it a mule. And it's got a rope on it, 6 foot behind you. You rinse the towel out, you put the thing up, and you go like that, and you drag it behind you. Much faster, much bigger area. Thumbs up. Okay? That's expensive. And again, no different than those things over there. It's a pair to store. Got to be flat. Can't lean against a wall because it'll bow. And if it bows, it's not laying on the floor flat. So it's got to be stored flat on the ground. Great tool. Quick, fast. But you got to be able to store it. That's usually one of the problems. Same thing with those things.
So that is for cleaning. You put the solution on the towel. What about dry cleaning when you're just dusting?
That's the 6-foot dust mop.
Could you use that?
Uh,
Or no?
You could use that, but you could use the towel without the solution on it. You could, but a 6-foot dust mop would be just as quick. Would be quicker probably. By the time you drag that out, get that, you can just run a dust mop across it. This is more for using the solution on it.
You'll probably with this size, you probably have to rinse your towel several times.
You have your mop bucket. It's in a mop bucket. You've done half the gym. You pull it off, rinse it out, bring it back out, put it back down, keep on going. So, I'm sure everybody's been to different schools, other schools. Jimmy down the street has a scrubber. It's got an automatic scrubber. You do hallways with it. You do everything with it. And you say, Jay, look, I'm I'm not using that thing. I'm gonna bring the auto scrubber. I'm gonna use the auto scrubber. Be out of here in a minute. Here's the problem with the auto scrubber. Any finish manufacturer, Hilliard, Bono, Buckeye, any of them will tell you you cannot use an auto scrubber within the first 2 to 3 years on a brand new gym floor. I'll tell you why. This gym, as I said earlier, is very acceptable to moisture. Very acceptable to moisture. It's its first year, especially this one. It's first year. It's brand new. And you're using an auto scrubber which has water in it. Here's the problem. And I don't want to step on anybody's toes, but I got to tell the story. So there's an auto scrubber out there, and they use. Jimmy knows how to use that. Jimmy's a good guy. Jimmy was trained on how to use it. He knows how to adjust the water. He's the perfect guy to use the auto scrubber. Jimmy's off. They bring in Sam. Sam's used it a couple times. He'll get away with it if he has to. Sam's called to the principal's office. Now they got Samantha. She's running. She's never been on the damn thing. She don't know anything about it. She got the water turned up, and she's making a heck of a mess. You come back in a couple hours later, you look across the floor. It's all cupped up. She didn't pull water up. She's got huge puddles at the ends. The floor is very acceptable to moisture until it gets more coats of finish on it. So for the first 2 to 3 years, no auto scrubbers in here. Do it with the dust mop, do it with the quick pass, do it by hand. When you start adding moisture to this floor that's fresh and brand new, it will pick up moisture faster. You realize that every year this floor needs to be recoated. It needs to be abraded, scratched, and a fresh coat of finish put on it. Every year. That's what the Maple Wood Flooring Association wants you to do. Every year, put a fresh coat of finish on the floor. Not paint, not all that, just a fresh coat of finish. Now, in 2020, there's nobody in here. Well, in a normal school, there wasn't anybody in the schools because schools were shut down. So we didn't do any buff and recoats in 2020 because nobody was using the gyms, nobody was wearing the gyms, so therefore they didn't need to be recoated. But as we get back into normalcy, every year they want the gyms recoated. Yeah.
Two-part question. So, one, you might have answered this. How often do you use the formula to clean it? And if you do it, should you do it at night so it's time to dry?
This will dry, since it's mixed with water, it evaporates very quickly. UMBC, the CQ Arena in Baltimore, they weren't mixing it correctly. They had humidity problems in the gym. So when they would do it, not only was the mixture wrong, but the area was very humid. So during a game last summer, July, August, I have it on my phone because my phone went off at 9:30 and my wife grabbed it out of my hand and wondered who was calling me at 9:30. They had a game going on at the arena and the floor was very slippery. Now, I am the floor guy, but again, there's got to be a parameter in there somewhere. So my phone goes off. Jay, you got to help me. What do you want me to do? And I'm trying to fend off my wife who's swinging at me. It's no. It's not a woman. No. They had a bunch of things going against them. High humidity. The biggest crowd they've ever had was over 2,000 people in the arena. A lot of humid, a lot of people breathing, carrying on. Plus, it was a good game going on. They were mixing that wrong, and they were using it in between almost every timeout. They were using that way too much, and it was hot and humid in the building. The system couldn't keep up, so they had a skim of moisture on the floor that was being used incorrectly, and the biggest crowd ever. So they had to cancel the rest of the game. Thank God it didn't come out in the papers because I'm sure my name would have been on it somewhere. The floor was slippery, whatever. And so when I got there first thing the next morning, and we started talking to the maintenance people and the crews, because that's what you got to do. You don't want to talk to the athletic director because they manage the team and what goes on the field. They're not necessarily in the background taking care of. Well, a little bit of an investigation, you find out, oh, that's supposed to be mixed. Well, there's the first problem. The facilities guy says, yeah, I had trouble maintaining humidity in the building. There's the second problem. And, well, how often do you use it? Well, we were using it on every time out. Okay, so all those things together made a floor very slippery. So, to your point, minimal. In a school like this, I'd say maybe once a week, maybe. Depending on how much activity you get. I find it very hard to believe that the floor is going to get that dirty. It's a private school, correct?
Yeah.
Private school. It's an all-girls school. All-girls private school. I mean, I find it very hard to believe it's going to get that nasty and that bad.
Unless they bring in a lot of dirt from outside.
Well, and that goes to dust mopping, cleaning, things like that. Now, if you're having a game, if I'm coming to see a basketball game, where do I come in?
Over here.
Okay, perfect. We've done gyms where you come in here, you got to come all the way across to get to the bleachers. So that's good. You come right in, go right to the bleachers. So now you don't have all those street shoes, boots, anything that doesn't belong in a gym coming all the way across the floor. They come in and go right to the bleachers. So that's good. That's good.
So if we have a doubleheader in basketball, we don't need to do that after both games. Once a week, we think that's fine.
Yes, I would say once a week. Always dust mop it at the least.
Yeah.
Keep it clean. But again, and you can read that, and here's the literature on it. There's the literature on that chemical. It's very inexpensive, and like I said, it's concentrated, so you mix it with water, it lasts forever. I can get it. If you can't get it, let me know. I'll get it for you. It doesn't make a difference. It's inexpensive. So we talked about lifts, we talked about that, we talked about keeping it clean, we talked about recoating it once a year. Now, recoating it once a year is up to you guys. What I tell people is, let's see, this is first of the year. Call me in June. Email me. Jay, look, do me a favor. It's June, July. Do me a favor. Come down and take a look at the floor. So you guys are here every day. You might not see the wear on the floor every day, but you're here every day. But let me come in from outside and walk in and go, this is great. Thumbs up. You guys doing a hell of a job. I'll see you in January. Or I'll come in and say, my goodness, is anybody doing anything? Is anybody cleaning it at all? And again, I'm being facetious, but I'm just saying it makes it easier for me as I walk in from outside and take a look at the floor. So, but you're going to have a hard time right now because there's still work going on in here. No big deal, but you're going to have a hard time keeping it clean because you got doors open, you got people working, you got dust being created. Once you button all that up, it's going to be very easy to keep it clean. You're just going to have people in here.
I have lots of questions. So what do you recommend if an athlete falls, there's blood all over the floor? What could we use to clean up blood off this floor that won't ruin it?
Okay. Does that happen normally?
Yeah, you get a bloody, I don't know. Yeah, you get an elbow in the nose, blood everywhere.
So
Cage matches. On
yeah,
the
exactly.
weekends.
That's what I'm thinking. What goes on in here?
I like to be prepared.
So remember, as I said earlier, you can't hurt the floor. Now, you got a roof leak, a door open, rain, that kind of stuff does it. But you really can't hurt the floor. It has recommended amount of finish on it. As you go throughout the years, you're going to be adding coats of finish. You get over your 2-year point, you're going to be able to use the auto scrubber in here, things like that. So whether you're spilling water, whether you're spilling Gatorade, whether you're trying to clean up something, first of all, get it up as quick as you can. Water is the best thing. You can just use a warm rag to get it up. If they're painting and there's some paint spots on the floor, it's usually a latex paint. Warm water takes it right up. Remember, it has finish on it, so it should wipe right up. Now, if you leave it sit, it's going to eventually eat through the finish, especially something blood, urine. I'm thinking of a house with a dog or a cat, something like that. It's going to eventually eat through the finish. But again, you just want to get it up. Always remember, it's a wood floor. Whatever you do to it, we can fix it. Somebody drops something from up there and puts a big gouge in the floor, we can pull that board out, put a new board in, nobody be none the wiser. There's a volleyball. You guys have volleyball standards in here. So you guys, a lot of times the coaches don't do the poles. They let the kids go. Those things are heavy. They drag them across the floor. You drag them across the paint, scratch the paint. It's paint. You abrade it, you touch it up, keep on moving. So always keep in mind, it can always be fixed. From bad boards to water damage to things like that. It can always be fixed. Keep the floor clean.
So if you're gonna use that solution like once a week, so let's say every day, can you use just
Water.
Just water?
Water. Fantastic. I wouldn't use this unless you think the floor is dirty, sweaty, nasty, things like that. I would just when we tack the floor before we coat it, we just use water. We don't use that. We just use water. This is more of a cleaning solution. Doesn't make a difference. Doesn't make a difference whether it's cold. Just wring it out. Wring it out.
Can you use a regular mop?
No.
There's nothing.
Like a string mop?
Right.
No, because if that puts too much water on the floor.
Oh,
That towel regulates. You rinse it out, you wring it out, it's not dripping wet, and that's how you do it. So this floor looks nice, but it's got dust and dirt on it. So when this floor is cleaned up, it's going to be a lot prettier. Plus, you're going to be adding coats of finish every year. Always remember, you can always add finish to the floor. At least minimum once a year. So, and that's up to the school, it's up to the budget, things like that. But in order to keep the floor looking like this, fresh and crisp, it's best to recoat it every year. A fresh coat of finish every year.
Is there a, if you have to err towards more humid or less, is it worse to have cracks or worse to have swelling?
Well, from a wood flooring standpoint, we want perfection. We want to keep in that 42 to 54, 44 to 52% range. That's where you want to keep it. Okay, that's a good question. So think about it this way. We've had gyms in Baltimore County in the dead of winter that were 18% humidity. You could barely breathe. It was so dry in there. 18%. There were gaps in there where you'd almost trip on them. Remember, the floor's tongue and groove together. So as it dries out, it dries out. Now it's not tight together. So now you have over and underwood because the floor's separated so much. You got people sliding across the floor to get a ball or whatever they do in here. We've had people cut their legs on the edges of boards. Just the opposite of that is too much moisture, too humid. Same gym, Northeast High School is the exact. They could not regulate the thing. In the winter it was in the 20s, and in the summer it was in the 70s, inside. So you didn't notice, but all around the perimeter there's an 1.5 inch gap, all the way around. That's what that black base is covering that space. This is called vented cove base. Vented cove base. If you look at this base, it's got vents in the back of it. Okay? This is adhered to the wall. We put a dollop of glue here, on not where those are, on every other one like that. This is vented, so this channel goes down and goes down to the bottom. So this floor can breathe when it wants to move and breathe. It's vented cove base. You need that. If you pin this floor in where it won't get any room to move, it'll buckle up off the floor if you fill it full of moisture. So we've had gyms that, especially that gym, at 70% humidity, there's an 1.5 inch gap all the way around the perimeter. It swelled up so much, it rammed against the wall and buckled up off the wall. We couldn't get the bleachers out. Now think about that, 1.5 inches, that's a lot. Every board picked up just a little bit and expanded and expanded and expanded until it got to a point that it wouldn't move. It was a wall and it went up like that. Of course, they called me, hey, I can't get the bleachers. Can't move the bleachers. I don't know why that's my problem, but I raced out there. As soon as I walk in, you instantly sweat as soon as you walk in the gym. And I got my meter out. Well, there's one of your problems. Get back behind the bleachers with a flashlight. Well, look at the floor's all buckled up. Base is all ripped off, floor's all buckled up. So that's a space. That's an environment problem. You got to fix the space. Keep it. To your question, both of them have their bad things. You want to try to keep it in that range somewhere.
So when it goes that extreme, hopefully it never here. But if you readjust the right
Correct.
relative humidity,
It's
will
wood.
it-
It's
will it
always
come in?
moving. So if you get it wet and then dry it out, it'll come back. But keep in mind, if you do that every summer, wet, dry, you're moving the nails. And you're doing this to the wood. You don't want to do that. You want to keep it as consistent as possible. This first year is the most critical on any brand new wood floor. It's the very first 4 seasons. Summer, winter, fall. You want to keep it as consistent as possible. Which is hard to do. It's a brand new space. Somebody's going to be on that computer making sure the system is working like it's supposed to.
Is there any outside mat that you recommend for the kids?
And again, so, going from one surface to another, not necessarily from hallway to gym, but from outside, any type of walk-off mat, something to knock the stones and the dirt off your feet, of course. No, nothing specific. Something, but nothing specific. You don't want to come in right from outside and come right on into this gym. So, scratches, scuff marks. Let's talk about scuff marks. Kids in here running around they got red shoes, got all kind of funny colored shoes. They're gonna leave scuff marks all over the place. So whoever is whoever's using the broom, the dust mop, on a daily basis to get the dust up, should have a pole with a tennis ball on the end of it. So as they're going along, they're getting the scuff marks off. A tennis ball is very non-abrasive. You go like that, takes the scuff mark right off. Very juvenile, but gosh darn, it doesn't work great. If you let that go for a week, day to day you might have 10 in there. A week you might have 100. If you let it go 2 weeks, it's going to be daunting. They're going to come in and go, I want to spend all day in here getting these scuff marks up. So that's why we say when you're dust mopping, take that thing with you. It's got to be tennis balls around here somewhere. It's got to be. Cut a little split them, pop them in the bottom, and use them like that. It works. It's very quick and very easy. So, and again, I'll say it again, clean. Got to keep it clean. So, this floor, you'll throw your 2 cents in. Normally, it's a year warranty. You might not know. You might. I don't know. It's usually 2 years. Something
Construction's a year, but I think they might have bought a 2-year warranty
And
here.
again, that's not for right now.
Sure.
But if we're able to maintain the floor, and maintaining means recoating it every year, abrading it, putting a fresh coat of finish on it, we can keep extending the warranty on the floor. So that's something that we offer for the school. We can also offer what's called a GYMS program, Gymnasium Yearly Maintenance System. Now, let's make sure we're on the same page here. That doesn't mean that MasterCare is taking care of it, I'm out of here, and you walk away from it and we'll see you in a year. That's not what that means. That means you guys maintain it on a daily, on a weekly, and a monthly basis. We come in once a year, we abrade it, and we put a fresh coat of finish on it. And we're able to keep that price for 3 years or for 5 years, depending on what length of time you want. And the more you extend it, we just keep extending the warranty. As long as we're buffing it and recoating it, we will keep the warranty. So what's nice about the GYMS program is you set it in the budget, you don't have to worry about it. It doesn't change. It's budgeted whatever it is, and it's good for this year or for 2024, 2025, 2026. It doesn't change. It stays the same. And we do it summertime. We do it Thanksgiving, Christmas, spring break, whenever the break is. You never do it during the school year. But that's what you do. You have to. You should recoat it every year. Apply a fresh coat of finish every year.
That's like a varnish.
Yes, that's the Hilliard finish that's on here. There's only a little bit of white in here, the letters and the volleyball. So all the finishes of today are all water-based finishes. They're all non-yellowing, crystal clear. Those you've been in gyms, I'm sure, where the lines are cream colored. It has an orange tone to it. You're not going to get that in here. It's all water-based finish. It's going to stay this light, bright color, and the white will stay white. It will not turn amber or cream.
Do you finish on top of the paint too?
Everything has finish on it. Yep. So the process is, of course, the floor is installed, and then it was sanded flat. It was double sealed, so sanded and double sealed, and then paint, and then 2 coats on top of the paint. That's pretty standard. And then you coat it every year. And in your second year, then you can bring the auto scrubber in if you want. Auto scrubbers in our business is a dirty word because nobody knows how to use it. So there's only one guy that knows how to use it, and he's off. So I've seen floors ruined from an auto scrubber. So we're big on letting people know about what they do and what they can't do. Because it's a danger. It's beautiful out there, or the tile or the terrazzo. Looks like a charm out there. You get into here, it's a little bit different. You gotta really know what you're doing. So I can write up a proposal for a buff and recoat for next year, 2024, summer 2024. I could put that in a proposal and send that to you if you want to see that, just so you can get an idea of what it costs. And that way we can move on from there. Right now, keep it clean. You got the solution. If you need a quick pass, if you're interested in one of those, let me know. I can get you one of those. They're expensive, but do you have a place to rinse a towel out?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, there's
Mop sink there. There's a hose out back.
okay.
So-
So what most people do, I just got one for somebody. Can't think of it now. a school over on the Eastern Shore. They bought, it comes with one, it's a 6-foot towel, and then they bought an extra one. So they could rinse one and keep one. Makes it a little bit easier. And the towels are inexpensive, but they are 6 feet long. They're made for the bar. You gotta keep it flat. You gotta store it flat. So,
They don't do a good job in the corner, I guess you have to do the corner by hand.
well, again, so from our standpoint, that's why we vacuum. Because we don't have to worry, we just run the vacuum right in the corners. But again, it's not dirty. It's usually not dirty over here. And so when I tell people, speaking of that point, let's say it's a time crunch. You don't have a whole lot of time. You got people coming in. There's something going on. Just do the court. Don't worry about out here. Don't worry about, just do the court. Get the court done first, because that's the most important part. And then if you got a couple extra minutes, then work your way back out into here. But get the court done first. That's where all the eyes are. That's where the TV camera is. No TV cameras in here?
Not yet.
No?
Right here.
Right there. Right. So that's where it looks the best on camera. Get the court done first.
All right.
I'm trying to be as quick as I could.
It's getting
Would have been quicker if I wasn't here.
That's all right. People
Is
get
that
tired of me
all
talking.
right, that's a wrap.